Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about my experience owning this Tesla Model 3, whether I like it or not, whether I regret my decision to buy this car. So, I bought this car back in October, and it is currently June, so I've had the car for about, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months. Can't really do math in my head. And I'll start with the things that I like about the car. So obviously I kind of knew this going in, but the car is very quick, which is fun. 0 to 60, I have the long range with acceleration boost, and you know, I think the 0 to 60 is less than 4 seconds. I think it's like 3.2 seconds or something like that. I don't know the exact number. So obviously the car is very fast. The technology in this car is really great. I love having Sentry mode. Sometimes Sentry mode can be a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes I'll come back to my parking spot and I'll see that the car has 22 new Sentry footage clips, and it's like, I'm not going to review all 22 like clips. That's just not realistic. So it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes. And I think what you should typically do is maybe just do a quick walk around the car and see if there's any damage. And if there is damage, then you can review the footage, right? But I don't know. I'm kind of too lazy to do that, so I don't really do that. But it is obviously a very nice feature to have. And, you know, in the same breath, talking about all the cameras in the car is really nice because the car is constantly recording when you drive. So if you ever, you know, God forbid, get into an accident, you'll have that footage saved from multiple angles. And also it's nice because, you know, sometimes you see something funny in the road or whatever, and you can quickly just save it and watch it back later. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, the mobile app is pretty awesome. Being able to turn on the AC before you get in the car is really nice. That's something that I wasn't able to do in my old car. So all these features are very nice. And of course, I personally get free charging at work, so I haven't had to pay for fuel, which is very nice, especially right now, because we all know that fuel prices are very high. So that's been kind of nice. And of course, the sunroof is nice. It lets in a lot of light. I do like the white seats. It makes the interior feel bigger, and overall very spacious. So I'm trying to think what else I like about this car, but overall, just it's very easy to drive. The regen braking is very nice, especially in city driving. You don't have to constantly move your foot from the gas to the brake. You just keep it on the accelerator, which is very nice. And I think one other thing I like about this car is, you know, I'm actually kind of blanking on what I was going to say. Oh yes, I remember. The maintenance on this car is pretty low. You don't have to worry about oil changes. I think in general, electric cars have a more simple drivetrain, so you don't really, there's just less maintenance. It's really just rotating your tires, changing out the cabin air filter, windshield wiper fluid. That's pretty much it. There's not a ton to do in these cars, which is nice. So maintenance costs is pretty low. All right, so now let's talk about the things I don't like about this car. First off, the car is actually pretty freaking loud. I think when I first got this car, I was kind of in the honeymoon phase, so I wasn't really thinking about it too much, but the wind noise is pretty annoying. I want to say it's more loud than my Honda Civic that I had before. So it's a very loud car. I recently did a road trip up to San Francisco, and yeah, it got pretty annoying pretty quickly. Number two, the ride quality on this car kind of sucks. Going over bumps is starting to get pretty annoying. I have 19-inch tires, 19-inch wheels, so that certainly does not help. and I am running the tires on, I believe, 41 psi. So it's maybe I can go down to 38 to help, but I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. So yeah, it's a bumpy ride. The third thing I don't like, even with free charging at work, I don't always go into the office, so I do find charging to be a little bit annoying. And I think especially if I were to get a different job without free charging, I do think the whole charging experience is not terrible, but obviously a gas station is going to be more simple, and there's less planning involved with a gas station than charging a car. When I did my road trip up to San Francisco, I think I spent about an hour charging total, so that is a substantial amount of time to add onto a road trip, an hour. And it kind of does limit where you want to stop, because ideally when you're on the road trip you want to stop where there's a supercharger, so you're maximizing your time, you're optimizing your time. And so that does kind of limit you a little bit, because let's say you want to go to, I don't know, a Wendy's, but there's no Wendy's with the supercharger, you're gonna have to compromise and go somewhere with, you go to a supercharger with whatever restaurant is nearby. So I find that a little bit annoying. I think also in general, the range on this car is not fantastic. I bought my car used, and it's advertised as 300 miles of range. There's pretty much no scenario where I can get 300 miles. At best, if I'm doing like a long road trip going 65 miles an hour, I'll probably get like 250 miles at best. And if you're doing a lot of city driving, you're gonna get like 200 miles. There's just no way you're gonna get 300. It's just not gonna happen. At least in this car, the 2023. And I think the last thing I don't like about this car is, I hate to say it, but the car is pretty boring to drive. And I think because I'm someone that enjoys driving, I think this was not the best decision for me buying this car, because I think this car is great for people who don't necessarily like to drive, and they want a car that can drive itself. They want a car with all this technology. This car is perfect for you. But for me personally, I actually think I enjoy driving my Honda Civic more. So to answer my original question at the beginning of the video, after about 8 months of owning this car, I think I can say yes, I do regret buying this car. I wish I kept my Honda Civic. It's not really, it's not like keeping me up at night or anything. I know I can always sell this car and get another one. The only part that's a little bit annoying is in California, if you were to trade in your car, you still have to pay the full amount of sales tax on whatever car you're buying. So let's say I sell this car for $20,000 and I want to buy a $30,000 car. In other states, you would only pay sales tax on the difference between $30,000 and $20,000. So you would pay sales tax on $10,000. In California, you pay sales tax on the $30,000 car that you're buying, regardless of your trade-in. So that is pretty frustrating and pretty annoying. So if I were to sell this car, I basically lost out on $3,000 in taxes, and I have to pay even more taxes getting a new car. So I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to sell this car. I'm still thinking about it. I've been looking into some options like the Honda Accord 2.0 Turbo. I've been looking at the K5 GT, and I've been looking at the Sonata N-Line. I think all those cars are hopefully going to be a little bit more engaging to drive. But overall, I mean, this is obviously a very great car. I am so grateful to be able to afford this car. It's very nice, and there's a lot of things I like about it. But I think it's just not the right car for me. Oh, and one other thing that I think I just don't really like about this car is just like the lack of physical buttons. I think this is a little bit of a nitpick, but what I really enjoyed about my old car was all like the buttons, and you know, when I would shift gears, or not shift, yeah, when I would go from like reverse to drive, I really like the sound of the gear shifter. And that doesn't exist obviously in a Tesla. But there's also even simple things like the way the left and right indicator sound. It doesn't really sound very satisfying. It doesn't feel satisfying. And so that overall just kind of impacts the driving experience, right? And I think I underestimated how much that affects the driving experience. Oh, and I just remembered one more thing. I've come to realize that I really enjoy when the car coasts. So, you know, in a traditional ICE car, you put your foot on the gas pedal, you let go, the car coasts. I really enjoy that feeling, and that doesn't exist in a Tesla, because once you let go of the accelerator, the car immediately starts to slow down. I know it sounds very silly, very first world problems, but it affects the whole driving experience. I don't really love it. So, you know, those are some of the reasons why I've ultimately, I just don't really get the same joy I get after a long drive that I do from my old Civic. So, yeah. So, moral of the story, I kind of regret this car. It's okay though, not the end of the world. Yeah. So cool. Thank you guys for watching.